Yeah Network.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Yeah Network. It's your girl Nyana, and we've got a very, very exciting interview prepared for you because yes, we've got a West London native in the house. From breaking through in the UK R&B scene to making history at the top of Billboard 100, Jay Sean has definitely built a career spanning more than 2 decades. Yes, you heard that right, and he's here now with new music, a single called Body, and loads, plenty more coming up on the way. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us, Jay. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. I'm joining you, of course. You're in England, but right now I'm in New Jersey, America, with
Wow.
my British fam in the house. So we've got a madhouse going on at the moment. It's my son's birthday tomorrow, so it's all go go go.
Yes, I know you said big celebration, so we won't keep you for too long, but we want to talk about some of those celebrations right here on our show. So thank you again for taking the time to join us. You're
Of
here,
course.
you've got a new single called Body. It's out now. How are you feeling about bringing out new music?
You know, every time I put new music out into the world, it's always a humongous blessing, and it's always exciting because up until that moment, there was only a few people in this world who had ever heard that song. And that's what I say the joy about releasing new music is. Me and a handful of other people know that this song exists, but today, in 1 second, it just goes out to everyone on planet Earth. And it's always a beautiful moment. It's always something that I'm very grateful for.
Yes, absolutely. And I can imagine you work on a project or a song for so long. How does it feel to actually finally release it? Do you feel a sense of relief? Do you get nerves? Do you get excitement? Talk to me more about that.
No longer any nerves. It's been, like you said, over 2 decades. It's not that it never feels, it's still so exciting because I wouldn't put a song out into this world if I didn't think that it was either going to go and resonate with someone, make someone happy, make someone dance, make someone smile, be a part of some journey in their life. So whenever I put it out there, I just send it with the best blessings. That's what I do. I just like, all right, let's go. Let's go, bro. Body's out there now in just in a split second. It might go and be somebody's favorite song, might get them through a hard time. It might give them exactly what they need at that moment in time that didn't exist before for them. So it's always one of those things that I get excited. I'm very grateful.
So it's a joyful moment for you about just resonating with your
Oh,
friends there.
yes.
That's great. Yeah. What does this record say about the version of Jay Sean we're getting now in 2026 compared to the stuff we may have heard
Yeah,
previously?
that's a nice question because I actually did deliberately want to set this particular year out to focus on up-tempo songs. Okay, now if you're familiar with my catalog, you would know that I do a bit of everything. I can actually hop around genres quite easily because that's something that I enjoy. Dancehall would mean the same to me as R&B, which is the same as a house record or a hip hop inspired record or a Punjabi inspired record, because to me it's all my truth. It's all something that I was raised up, I grew up listening to, and so all embodies a part of me. So they're all special, those genres. But this year, I really want to focus on some up-tempo bangers, give people some fun, give people some energy, give them people that song that maybe, you're pre-gaming before you're going out and you're like, there's only one song that's going to do it. It's going to be Jay Sean Body. That's the one. Let's go. It puts me in a good mood while I'm putting on my makeup or I'm making a little drink, whatever it is. I wanted to create that vibe with this song. And I think I think I achieved it with this one because I put it to the test when I performed it live, and I just saw the whole crowd go nuts, and they didn't even know the words yet, but it was the energy which was there.
Yeah, I can imagine it's quite exciting to be creating that atmosphere or vibe, like you said, for your listeners there. So that's really exciting. Would you say that your process and the way you make music now is different compared to your major label days?
I don't think so. I don't think so. If I really have to think about my creative process, it's always been the same. It's always been never chase. I never wanted to do something that sounded like I was chasing. It's I really believe you can hear that in the spirit of the song. You can tell when you're trying to do something that's not authentic to you, or you're like, oh, so and so had a big smash with a song like this. Let's do that. That's not me. I don't do that. I always want to do a song where it goes, this sounds like a Jay Sean record to me. This is a Jay Sean record. And that's it. It's his kind of melodies, it's his groove, it's his vibe. It's his delivery, it's the performance that we all know of him. And sometimes, listen, sometimes I have missed. And I've taken a step back and I've gone, nah, bro, you were trying too hard there, or you were doing this, or you're trying to pull the wool over their eyes. That's not you. Don't do that. Come back to what you do and what you do best. And I think that that's something that I really go with, that inner feeling that I know I'm speaking my truth and it's true to me. I feel like you can hear that.
Definitely. You can really hear that authenticity and being truthful to yourself is very important when it comes to your creative process when writing songs. Would you say that you think about making hits? Obviously, you've got so many accolades to your name and your catalogue, or would you say you're focusing more on making songs that you enjoy and you know that your audiences will enjoy as well?
I think that if there was a guaranteed formula for a hit, wouldn't we all be doing it? It's like, wouldn't every artist on planet Earth would be like, well, I mean, obviously I want to do a hit. I don't know if I just want to do some sub record that people are going to listen to once or twice. They want a hit. You want a hit. But there is no, in my personal humble opinion, you can't force it down their throat, man. You can't force them to listen to music the way, if they gravitate towards it, if they love it, if it works for them, they will do it. So for me, it's always about being smart about my songwriting. I know it's got to be hooky and catchy. There's got to be parts that you're going to want to sing along to, or parts that you can't get out of your head. And we call those earworms. It's like, in a lot of my music, I'll do stuff that you don't even realize, but you might be whistling it or you might be humming it. But that's because, we worked hard on trying to come up with something that's fun for you to keep listening to. So I think there's ways that you can do it, but ultimately I really still do believe that you should do it for what's right for the sake of the song.
And of course, you're now an independent artist with your own label. So do you think you're making better music now, now that you don't have the pressure that you had in your commercial peak?
Um, can I be honest with you? I walked away from every situation where I felt it was becoming like that. So when I was with my first record label, it was Relentless, Relentless Records, but together with Virgin Records, right? It was under the same umbrella. Um, my first album, I was truly just myself, and there was just nothing but support there from the label, and we did very well off that first album. And then when it came to writing my second album, I could tell there were like too many different types of opinions of, oh, well, we think you should be working with this person or do this, do that. And I was like, man, it's saying I don't think it's gonna work like this. I think that I have a very clear vision of what kind of music I want to put out into this world. It worked for this album, so I would like to have done that again. But things change, music changes, times changes, opinion changes, pressures at the label change, whatever it is. And I walked away and I went independent, and I did my next album my own way. Literally, that's what it was called, My Own Way. I did it independently. So a lot of people don't realize that that second album was actually an independent project. And that album was the album that had Write It, that had Stay, that had Maybe, that had all those songs that are now fan favorites. It's because I did it independently. I did it because I knew I needed to do what I felt in my heart. No bad blood between the label. Nothing but, yo, thank you. We did some cool shit. But I need to go and do my own thing now. And that's how I've kept it this whole time. I've always kept that in my head. Went on to Cash Money, same thing. I did that with with the major labels. Did Down and Do You Remember and 2012 and I'm All Yours, and I did all of that stuff with the label. But then I knew it was time for me to go on and do my thing independently again. It's like a little circle.
So you sort of go when it's working for you, and then when you feel like you need more autonomy or just to trust your gut and your own instinct on your creative art, that's when you know it's time to walk away.
That's exactly it.
Mm.
When it feels like you're just flowing and you feel like you are in your flow state, I truly believe that's when so much magic can come out of the studio. When you're happy with everything, the people you're working with, your team, your people you're creating magic with, when it's flowing, it's right. When a few things start to feel weird and you're like, I don't know, something's off. I gotta figure this out. I'd rather step away. I'd rather step back, check myself, check my team, check my squad, people around me, be like, all right, what's going on here? because something needs to be addressed. And then that's when I take that space and I do that, and then I come back fresh the way that I want to be.
That definitely showcases in your actual artwork and your songs and your music. Definitely, like you said, it was your second album that you put out yourself independently that really took off for you. So yeah, that's really incredible to hear and inspiring to hear that you can just trust your own gut and go with your own feeling. I want to talk more about your history now and where you started. And you even mentioned there your song Down. It went to #1 in America, and that you became the first South Asian artist ever to top the Billboard Hot 100. At the time, do you think you really understood how significant that was, or was it, has the weight of it become more apparent and more clearer with age?
That's a lovely question, only because I think when it happened, yes, we were all aware that it was a record-breaking moment, and we all sort of like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this is really crazy. We were all aware, gave myself a little pat on the back. Well done, mate. But there was so much going on. I cannot even describe to you how insane life becomes when you have a record that's that big. You are everywhere all at once, all around the world. Shows, tours, interviews, just it's crazy. And so you just go with it. You just go. I think afterwards, when you reflect on your journey, like I do, and I talk about it in interviews and podcasts, I look back and I go, wow, that really was actually pretty incredible. Not just for me, but also what it's done for my people and my culture. You know what I mean? And where I grew up, whether it's just South Asians or whether it's Brits, their pride that I think they felt too. It's like, boy, that's one of us, man. He went and did that. And I think that it's beautiful to be able to reflect on my journey and see how other people have also enjoyed uh, watching that happen, because perhaps it gave them a little something that they needed. Maybe they thought, well, if he went and did it, I might be able, I might be able to too, And I think that's really beautiful.
I want to ask you now, do you think that obviously you've spoken about your success with those songs there? Do you think global success gave you more freedom at the time, or do you think it actually gave you less and you felt more restricted with everyday life when it comes to the fame of it all?
I think that my favorite thing about my career is the fact that I have a global audience. I love nothing more than touring. I love nothing more than being on stage. That's where I'm alive. With that mic in my hand, I'm alive. I know that that feeling is something that is always special. And when I go around the world to different countries and I just see how music has brought me to all four corners of the earth, I just think that that is so, so special. I've been to countries where they don't even speak English, so I'm speaking halfway through between the songs and they're just like, I don't know what you're saying. But the minute I open my mouth and start singing the songs, they know every word. And it's just incredible. So for me, I'm always going to find that one of my biggest blessings.
You can really feel the passion from you when you speak about it, and your whole face and body lights up when you speak about performing with your
Love
fans.
it.
So that's something that's really special.
Absolutely.
Um, From the outside, that period of time looks incredible. You had a Billboard #1, songs with Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, huge records we're talking about here. So tell us more about what was happening behind the scenes that maybe your audience and fans may have not necessarily would have known that is happening at the time.
Well, I think it was a very, very special moment in time. I still do believe, um, and I still do believe that that era, the 2010s era, there was some magic in the air when it came to music. I think when we speak about 2010s, call it nostalgia, call it whatever, everyone I know is like, oh, I love that era. It was just different. The songs hit differently because remember, this was also pre crazy tech. This was pre social media. This was pre Spotify. It was pre all of that. So the way that we consumed those songs at that moment in time, you couldn't escape them. They were everywhere. If it was a smash, you could switch any radio station and you're still hearing the songs. It's just like, it's everywhere. Am I wrong? That's what that time was like. You play a song from that era, you cannot escape it. Now we have the choice to listen to whatever we want, whenever we want. So there is no more like, this is a guaranteed smash. This is gonna be everywhere. You can't escape this. Unless of course it goes viral on TikTok. But even then it's like a 30-second snippet that will go viral. It's not the whole song. So, the way that music was created and consumed back then was just different. And also there was some magic going on in Cash Money at the time. We had myself, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, Drake, Tiger. We were all popping at the same time. And it was just like you couldn't escape the success of that record either, that record label. It was just phenomenal what was going on. And so we were firing. We were firing, we were flowing, and everything was just, it was a great moment in time. It was a great moment for music too. In the music industry, I think just a very special moment.
You spoke there about how the landscape of music has changed, just from like you could go to the supermarket and hear the song, and now people have to actively look for the songs that they want to listen to. Tell me a bit more about what you've learned from the business side of the music industry.
I think, you know, you can't, we can't change people's consumer habits. That's just, it's too big and it's universal and it's everywhere. We all are victims of now shorter attention spans. We're all like that. Let's be honest. Wi-Fi connection goes, oh my God, this ain't fast enough. Or why is this? Back in the day, we had to just plug a bloody thing into the wall and let it sit there for 20 minutes before we could do anything with the internet. But we're all so much more, spoiled when it comes to now, right? So that changes the way that you consume art, changes the way you consume art, music, TV, movies. Movies and TV shows have to repeat the plot line multiple times throughout the film because they know that we are all also on our phones, doom scrolling while watching the show. So to make us click back in, they have to keep getting our attention. Like, hey, guys, remember, hey, you're watching a movie. We're right here. We're right here. You have to keep, that's changed the way you do filmmaking. It's also changed the way that music is consumed and perhaps sometimes the way that music is created. We know now that songs are shorter. You can't spend a 1 minute on an instrumental before you start singing. You can't do that. Whereas any of those 90s R&B songs, it was one straight minute and the guy's talking some shit at the beginning of it like, hey baby, I wrote this song for you. Cause and we just sit there and be like, yeah, tell me. I'll wait till you start singing. Can't do that shit no more. You just gotta get straight to it. So it has changed the way that music is created, art is created. But listen, that's what happens. Time evolves. Back in the day, they had to do a whole band in a studio and have one take. And if somebody messed up, they had to go all over again. That changed too. So, it's just about your perspective, how you look at it.
Yeah, it was certainly a different time, and like you say, some things have evolved for the better. But yeah, very interesting to look back at those moments. Yeah, very interesting. We've done a bit of research, and you've mentioned in a previous interview that you weren't enjoying the music that you was making anymore. Making music didn't feel that representative to you anymore as well. Was there ever a point in your career where maybe you realized that you don't actually want that version of success anymore?
I went too far. I made a mistake. I chased, you know what I'm saying? And there were times where I felt like I couldn't do what I like to do because the landscape of music at the time was just really different. And I was finding it hard to find my space, trying to fit into this little thing. Like everything's going this way and the pressure is to go this way. And I was like, well, I don't know, man. I've been here before. I fell victim to that before and I had to walk away and come back strong and came back stronger. And I think that that's kind of, whenever I feel that, yes, I do step away from it. And even if it means I don't go to the studio for a year, 2 years, it doesn't matter. I'm still always touring. That's the one thing that never stops. I'm always touring, but creating. I now only create when I really, honestly, when I feel like it. And when I feel like I've got something to offer the world. Because otherwise, what am I doing? what am I doing unless I really feel like I have something to offer you? That is the difference between an artist and a great vocalist. An artist feels like they have something to say. An artist feels like they have something that they deserve that spot in your playlist, you know, amongst all the other special songs to you. And so that's what I do. I do that now. And I think I can look back at my past. I can look back at some mistakes and understand where I took it too far or where I wasn't authentic to myself or to my fan base, you know?
Definitely. And you've spoken a bit about, some places in the past where you feel like you may have been chasing, not being really authentic to yourself and your music. Can you give us an example of something that we may have heard that wasn't really representing who you were at the time?
I it, I think that it might have been when I decided to do my mixtape, and it's the reason I decided to do the Mistress mixtape is because I felt like I had chased pop a little too far. I was doing records that, in my personal opinion, I think started lacking some soul and depth. Uh, you know, when I was with Cash Money, everything became very, very pop and dance and EDM. That's where it was heading, music. And I just didn't know how to live in that world. I didn't know, I hadn't figured it out yet, how to write songs over like very hard EDM tracks. It was very difficult. And I think I tried and I didn't do very well with that. And that's when I went and wrote The Mistress. That's I needed to get it out. I needed to get out the R&B and the soul that I felt was lacking in the pop records that I was doing.
You eventually left Cash Money and chose independence, which you've been speaking with us about here. Was that decision more about creative control, family life, the business, or a combination of everything, really?
I think it was a bit of a combination. I had just become a dad, right? And I understood the importance of now living for somebody else, someone who's more important than me. You know, it's not about me anymore. And I wanted to be in the right headspace to be a good and present dad, but also what that did was it allowed me to be more focused with my dreams, my visions, my goals, the way that the trajectory of my career, where I want to go, where do I have to say no now? Where should I just say no? Where is it better to just, turn down offers and turn down opportunities that I don't think are going to be in alignment with what I want for me and my family? And I think it was a bit of that. And I think musically and creatively, we had reached a beautiful moment with Cash Money where we both were able to go, you know, in a way that was no blood, no bad blood, right? It was just, hey, I really appreciate you taking me on this incredible journey and having faith in me and my art and my work where others would not have seen the vision, but you did that and I'm grateful. But I've got to go my own way now and do my thing. And I think even with them, they understood he's got to do his thing now. He just wants to do what he wants to do. And it was an amicable way of being able to part ways.
So, just making your own decision that, the time is up. You felt both amicably that you wanted different things and that you wanted to go your own way.
Yeah.
Very understandable there. Was it frightening at all leaving such a big machine? Obviously, with major labels, there's loads of backing that you get there, and going independent has obviously had loads of success for you. But before you had that success, was there ever a moment where you were like, oh gosh, this is scary?
Yeah. Very scary. There is a bigger team. There are so many people, such a big machine, so many people who can help you get to where you want to go. But look, with me, it's always been about if I'm no longer sitting in it with joy. And it's really about that. For me, if I'm going to the studio and I'm not joyous and I'm not enjoying this, what am I doing this for? This is the arts. You do it because you love it so much. You don't do it because it's not a normal job. You're doing it because it's just you're crazy about it. And that joy is what keeps you going through. It's the reason why they have broke artists. They talk about them all the time. Is because, we do this because we love this shit. Sometimes it fires and you're off and you're away and you're a superstar. Sometimes it doesn't, but it's because we love it. And I think for me, the minute I stopped loving parts of it were the times where I knew I had to just stop and I had to take a minute, and I had to make sure that I was okay, uh, saying goodbye to all of that in order to then bet on myself again.
If you could put the Jay Sean of 2009 and the 2010 era up against and in the position that you're in now in 2026, with the knowledge and the tenacity and the confidence that you have today, what would you go back and do differently?
Um, I would have said, film a lot more, you idiot. You're going to need all that footage. The world's about to go crazy with blogging and vlogging and shit. No, but honestly, actually, it was also one of the reasons why I enjoyed that era so much is because some of my greatest moments, even some of my biggest shows, they weren't even filmed. They weren't even filmed. It was just all in here, and it's in here, and that's what remains with me. So it's really interesting. Um, I think I would have said, to perhaps understand that things were about, there was no way we were going to know things were about to change so dramatically. There was no way that we knew it was going to go from, by the way, no one's going to buy a CD ever again in life. Nobody's going to line up outside HMV and Tower Records and Al Price and wait to get a CD signed by you. That's not going to exist. No one's going to buy your songs from iTunes. That's going to be gone. We didn't know what was coming. If there was a way to prepare myself for that, perhaps we could have applied a different coping strategy. I think for the shift in how crazy tech went and changed the whole game. But I don't even know what that would look like. I don't even know what
Yeah,
that
I
would
guess you
look like.
can't go back and look and regret at the decisions you've made,
No.
but yeah, it would have been interesting if you could have filmed all of those earlier stages as well, for sure. Those are like history moments. I want to ask you now that if you could go back in time, having known the knowledge that you have at your fingertips, would you go back and even sign to a major label, or would you just be independent?
I would not have changed a single thing about the decisions I made with my creative partners. Not a single thing. I'll tell you, because it is unbelievable to me how each of those things are so perfectly linked in terms of the timeline destiny of what was then created off the back of that. Right, it would not have happened had I not left Virgin Records. It wouldn't exist. It only existed because I left them and met this kid at a store signing who gave me his CD, and it had a demo on it of the instrument, not a demo, it had the instrumental of Ride It. I went straight to his house and wrote the song in his garden shed with him. That wouldn't have happened if I was still with Virgin, right? It changed my whole trajectory of my career. It got me signed to America, got me signed to Cash Money, right? It was the song that got me signed. Had I not had done that, I wouldn't have written down and Do You Remember in 2012 and all of the songs that went and changed the entire trajectory of my career, turned me into, breaking the United States and going around the whole world. It was unbelievable. And, all those things had to happen in order for the songs to have been created, which is crazy to me. The songs would not have existed had I made different decisions to leave the label or to go independent. It was just crazy.
So everything's sort of happened for a reason and fallen into place for you then.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I needed, for Down and all those songs to be the smashes that they were. It worked with Cash Money. I don't know if I would have written those songs independently. In fact, I wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have met the producers that I wrote those songs with. That came off the back of me going to America. So, it's all intertwined.
Definitely. You've recently revealed that you've got some pretty serious collaborations sitting on your hard drive that never got released, never came out. So
Uh-huh.
we want to be a bit cheeky, want to be a bit nosy. Who and which people are on these collaborations that are on your hard drive? Like, who are they?
I don't know if I can say though, because then it's their party involved as well. So it's a tricky one. There were some that leaked. I can tell you that there were some that leaked onto YouTube. I even had a song with Justin Timberlake that was, we did. I had songs with Pharrell that we did. There were so many incredible songs, but those ended up getting leaked, and they never actually saw the light of day. But there's also like any artist. I saw an interview with Wayne. Little Wayne was on somebody's podcast talking about how he's got thousands to millions of songs that he's just never seen the light of day. It happens to a lot of us artists. We have some of us have albums worth that never come out. So now I think I'm trying to look, I'm trying to not let that happen. I don't want something to just sit on my hard drive. If I feel like it's something I want to share with the world, the difference is now the way that the model is, the music industry, we can get it out within 3 weeks on Spotify. That's not a problem. Back then, if you were doing an album, you were like, well, it doesn't fit this album, and this album won't, and then it just never comes out.
If you could release one of those songs that the world hasn't heard yet, which one would it be and who's on it?
Um, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if there's so many. I can't. I don't even. Some of them don't even have the collabs. Actually, there's some songs that I listen to that I'm like, oh my god, this just. Why did this never come out? It's so good, and my friends all they're just like, dude, can we just have a copy of it, please, so we can listen to it? So I'll give it to some of my friends. But there's a few, man. Listen, I promise you, I'm gonna try to make sure that I get at least some of them to see the light of day. Because otherwise, what's the point? But there's ways of doing it. It's hard,
Mm.
but we're gonna try.
Talking about now about some of the newer generation of artists, you've said that you'd love to work with Olivia Dean. So I wanted to know what was it about her that specifically made you think I need to make a record with this girl?
Well, the number one reason is, when your kids put you onto someone, then you know that there's something going on. I'm like, oh, I need to be up on this. What's going on here? My daughter loves Olivia Dean and would not stop listening to her. Still doesn't. In fact, we're going to go and see her in 3 days. I think we're going to see her in concert. And I listened to her music, and of course, I had heard the major ones that had already come out. I was just like, she's got a lot of she reminds me of like just an unapologetically sincere, honest artist who wants to say what she wants to say the way she wants to say it. Doesn't fit in any one particular box. There's no one genre that you can say she's this and she's only this. She just does her thing. And I love that about her because that's, as an artist, I respect that a lot. Um, Very beautiful voice, and a really good songwriting, great melodies. So she's is a clearly a reason why she's in this particular time of how hard it is to really break. There's a reason why she's gone on to become as successful as she is. So yeah, super happy for her, and it would just make me the coolest dad ever if I got to do a collab with her. That's it's as simple as that. It's like, yeah, dad, all right, yeah, I know you've met all these different people, but do you have a song with Olivia Dean? So if we ever got that done, it would be cute.
No, that's so lovely that it's actually your children that have inspired you to want to collab with her. That's amazing. And hopefully it happens and yeah, you can say to your daughter, "Listen, I'm the coolest dad in the town." Like
Yeah.
that would be amazing. Who else
Yeah.
from this new generation of UK artists would you say excites you?
I think also Sienna, she's doing really big things, right? Um, she also my kids put me onto her. It was just so crazy how they're they've got their finger on the pulse. It's just you can't, because again they are gravitated towards what they want to listen to. You can't force them. It's like now there's a reason that they're going to certain artists and are sort of drawn to their music. So yeah, she actually the other day I bought her cassette. I bought her album on cassette to show my daughter what that. But yeah, because she's got her album. It's like obviously it's a fun little gimmicky thing to be able to put it, your album as a cassette. But for my kids, they were like, "How do you even use this thing? Where do you plug it in?" I go, "You don't plug it in anywhere." They're like, "I don't see it. Where does the USB go?" I was like, "Listen to me. We're gonna have a whole experience." So I bought her a Walkman, and I got her to put the thing in there, and she had the whole old school experience, the rewind, pause, and she loves it. She absolutely loves it. That it's something that she can touch, physically hold, and have those things. To see her enjoy music in that way was just amazing.
Um,
Absolutely.
do some of these younger and newer artists come to you for advice because you're an OG, you've got so much experience, you've been so successful? Do they come to you for advice on the industry and how to navigate it all?
Yeah, well, my own artists, that's what I provide for them, really. I think is that mentorship. And, they're all obviously they're young, they're in their early 20s, right? Some of them have been singing since they were like 4, and it's just like unbelievable talent. But what I can offer is experience. What I can offer is when, you know, they're in the studio and they're creating this thing, and then they put it out into the world. I can tell them what that feels like and what you're doing, and then also how the challenges of how today's industry is different from what it was like for us, and how to manage expectations, and how to still keep the fire alive and be excited, and all of that, express yourself the way that it's authentic to you, like do all those things. And I really try to be a good mentor for them, because yes, even though I'm working on the business side of it now, I'm still a creative at heart. I'm still an artist. I'm still emotional about music. I'm still sensitive as an artist when, you put music out and the way that people are going to receive it, all that kind of stuff. I know what they're going through. So I'm able to provide some of that for them.
Are there any mistakes that you'd say that younger and newer artists are making that you feel like you wish that somebody had warned you about when you were just breaking out into it as well?
I don't think I can call upon other people's choices as mistakes. I don't think that's my place to say. It might, hey, listen, it might work for them. It might be a massive mistake for me, but incredibly good for them. Or vice versa. There's no one way of knowing what's going to be good for your career or your trajectory. I think the only thing I can ever say to anybody is just to understand that you are your own unique version. You're the only one of you that exists. So just, go with that, know that, and be in line with that always. Like, and just think about that when you're creating, about, you know, how to stay true to that person.
And we've also heard through the grapevine that you're also working on a documentary where you're telling the ins and outs of your story from being in West London to going global, and to just, really taking on the charts there. And you've said it's not an average doc and that there's a completely different spin on it. So, what can you tell us about this documentary that you're pulling together? What can audiences expect to see and find out about you?
I can't spoil the spin, because that's definitely a, what do you call it? That's a spoiler alert, as they would say, right? So I can't do that, but I can tell you that it is, and like, I think by you talking to me, you had to do your research. You understand that my story is truly a one of one story, because I'm a British born, uh, Punjabi Indian Sikh kid who went and broke America and got the biggest record in the world with a hip hop label from New Orleans. It's just the biggest fish out of water story that only I can tell, because it's only happened to me. Yes, we've had Brits who've broken America, but my specific story is two individuals. Nobody's done it since, and nobody's done it before that. And so the perspective that I'm, able to share from being an Indian kid growing up in England, trying to persuade people and show people like, hey, we're just the same as you, and just to try to get the same opportunities, the same shots at life. It wasn't necessarily there for us. It was hard for us. But if that can now provide some inspiration, to other kids, the future generations, to go, my God, I did not know this story. And, I didn't know he went through this stuff to get to where he is. That might inspire them to keep dreaming that it's okay. I know it's hard right now, but I did it. I didn't care what anyone said. I was hell bent on being somebody in this industry and being successful and being able to put my music out there. So I think if it can do that, then it's, this is not about me. Let's just put it that way. This is way bigger than that.
Absolutely. And you've spoken a bit more there about your South Asian heritage and your Punjabi culture and how that really impacted the music and your journey as well. Were your family, friends, and the people that you grew up with, were they supportive of you wanting to do music? Because, like you say, it's not a normal average career for a West Londoner. So, yeah, were they supportive of you saying this is your dream and you're going to pursue it?
I think the short answer to that question is, they knew from ever since I was a kid that this kid is obsessed with music. He's always beatboxing, he's rapping, he's playing music on the drums, he's just writing raps on the back of receipts at Marks and Spencer's when he should be working. He's doing his grades. He's got into med school, but he's still doing shows as a singer when he should be thinking about tomorrow's dissection that he's got to do at university. So whatever it was, they knew I was obsessed with it. And so when it got to that point where I was like, I want to do this, I think they knew if I apply the same level of heart, determination as I did to everything else I did in my studies, then I'd make it work. And I had their blessings, and I could not do it without their blessings.
Are they proud of you now after, the career that you've had and you're still having to this day?
Absolutely. I mean, in the nicest way. They don't show off. They don't talk about me like that. Oh, my son is this. My son is this. They're so sweet. They're so humble, and they're incredibly proud. Especially because people always come up to them and say, what? I listen to your son's music, and I've been a fan of his for 20 plus years, and I go to his concert. That must be nice to hear. Somebody said that about my kids. I know I'd be proud, wouldn't I? So.
You've achieved so much. Are we expecting an album, more singles? Where else are we going to be seeing you? Obviously, you said that you've got this documentary in the works. What else is happening?
There's a lot going on. I have a TV and film production company as well, so that's separate from the doc though. But we are in terms of we're doing other documentaries on other subjects, stories that deserve to be told. Right, is our ethos that deserve to be told. We're trying to shine the spotlight on those stories. Doing a scripted comedy drama that I'm starring in as myself, which is going to be unbelievable. Super excited about that. Of course, the music is always there. The touring is nonstop, and we have on top of that the label. Like I said, that I have my own artists. But so yes, there is a lot going on, but it's all stuff I love. It's all stuff that I'm really interested in. The music, I'm in a really good place where the kind of music I'm doing, I really feel like it's in that same bag that I would have given you in the 2009, 2010 era. That same feeling, those same kind of melodies that you love from me. But we've kept it current and kept it up to date the way that we know how to do, right? And so, yeah, really excited about the new music. Album, I don't really care about albums, personally speaking. That's just my take. I think that if other artists want to do albums and that's right for them, that really works, and never a judgment on any other artist. But me particularly, I don't feel the need to sit down without giving anyone any music and then 3 years later go, and here are my 10 songs. People are probably going to be like, mate, come on, you could have given us those ages ago. So I'd rather keep giving you music and keep the vibes going.
Incredible. That's been the amazing Jay Sean. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Make sure you guys check out his new work, his documentary that's coming out, and keep an eye out for all the stuff that he's got coming up as well. This has been Yeah Network, and I've been your girl, Nyana. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep watching. Stay tuned for our next interview. Thank you again, Jay.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah Network.